Footsteps in the gravel. Footsteps getting closer and closer. And a strange buzzing sound. And what sounded to me like a pair of wings flapping really loud. The noises became closer, as if someone or something was right inside of this creepy old place. I hurried up and hid inside one of my little hiding places, and I could hear a loud thumping noise in my ears when I realized it was my own heart beating like crazy. Finally, after what seemed like forever, the noises became more and more distant, and then silent. So to say that my head aches and my back hurts, that would be like the understatement of the year. I waited for a bit and then slowly crawled out of the shadows, my rucksack with no particular plan in mind. And suddenly the vision of those train tracks popped into my head. They were a ways down a bit, miles and miles away. But the hell with it, I thought. I have to get out of here. Lucky for me, there was a beautiful full moon, and that moon was my friend, because it lit up the landscape just enough that I could see where I was heading. After walking a little ways, I began to hear what I thought was running water, and the more I walked, the louder the sounds became, until finally I could smell it. A stream. I saw this as some kind of divine intervention. I whispered under my breath, how in the heck did a stream get out here in the middle of nowhere? I relished this moment and decided to rest for a spell. I sat beneath a stand of tall trees. I sat down on the cool, dark earth and looked up towards the heavens. Those stars were so close that I felt like I could just reach up and snatch one right out of the sky. I rolled me a cigarette and inhaled deeply. Wow, how in the hell did I end up in this place? What a predicament. A million things run through your mind when you've been alone as long as I have. I felt something crawling on my arm, and when I flicked my lighter to see what it was, there sat a ladybug. I instantly thought of my mama. You see, she loved ladybugs, and throughout my life, whenever I am in such a situation, a ladybug will appear. I felt like this is a sign from her, telling me to hang in there, that things will be just fine. Call me crazy, but it's the truth. I remember talking to my mama when I was a young gal. I told her there was no way I was gonna end up stuck in that town, barefoot and pregnant like my sisters and all my friends. My daddy was such a son of a bitch and ruled our house with an iron fist. My sisters and I grew up in fear of him. By God, the entire town knew what a mean son did have his good qualities. Always helped people in need. He always worked hard to feed us kids, and when I was 2 years of age, I stopped breathing in my sleep, and my daddy breathed the life right back into me. I suppose that's why I am such a fighter, and why I don't put up with any bullshit. It didn't really matter. I told Mama I had decided to leave. She stood silently while I packed my stuff and loaded up my 65 fastback. Mama did her best not to cry, but it didn't work. I kissed the salty tears on her cheek, and I told her, "I'll be back, Mama." She dabbed at her eyes with one of her hankies and shoved it into my shirt pocket. When I drove away, I couldn't bear to look back. I just could not. So I left my small town for the wide open road, and about 300 miles down the highway, I stopped to get some gas and something to eat. I pulled my mom's hanky from my pocket, and tucked inside was $300. That night, I could smell Mama's perfume on that hanky. It smelled like Dune, her favorite perfume. I climbed into the back seat of my car and fell fast asleep, because that was my Mama. She always took really good care of me. At daybreak, I was back on the road and headed out west. I thought, shoot, maybe I'll go to Hollywood like everyone else does. Maybe I'll be in the movies. Maybe I'll get a good job. I'll be in California and everything is gonna be peachy keen. Before long, that big city felt like it was gonna swallow me up alive. So I moved as far away as I could. Took a country road out to the middle of nowhere. Started a new life. And things were good for a while, until all hell broke loose. Well, enough of that. Funny how things pop into your head when you least expect them to. I stood up and stretched and grabbed my rucksack, headed back into the darkness. I listened to the running water and followed that stream until the sun came up. And when it did, I had finally reached the train tracks. And let me tell you, the sunrise was the most beautiful I'd ever seen. As I rounded the bend, I stood frozen in awe. There before me was a beautiful green mountain range. It felt as if I were in a dream, because the place was just like what I imagined an oasis to look like. It was like something straight out of a picture book. I could hear the birds chirping, an eagle flapping his wings. I even spotted a deer. A ways in the distance, I spotted a small white dot. I headed through the woods and got closer and closer until I came upon a little white cottage. It was nestled in the valley all by itself. As I approached, I pulled my gun from its holster and cocked it. I figured with clothes still hanging on the clothesline, someone had to be inside. And I quietly, ready to take something out if it so much as said boo. But the door swung open with a creak, and I stepped inside. A few photos and toys were scattered on the floor. sign of anyone. Looked to me like a nice family had lived here recently, but whatever it was, it scared him away. Scared him away in a hurry. I tried to push any negative thoughts from my head. Chill ran up my spine when I realized that someone or something had run this family off. So here I sit. Guess I'll go through my rucksack to see what the damages are. Looks like I still have some clothes. Some matches. My flashlight. I have an extra pair of boots. And of course I have my mama's hanky. And it still smells